All right, welcome back. Excited to really dive into something different today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's called the Urantia Book.
Hmm.
Have you heard of it?
I have, actually.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not surprised if most people haven't, though.
Yeah, not exactly a household name.
It's a
Hmm.
pretty interesting one, I
That's
think.
fascinating.
Yeah, it's like a
Strange mix.
spiritual text, part philosophy, part cosmology,
Yeah,
all kind of rolled into this one massive volume.
exactly.
And I was
Yeah.
looking at the source material and
It's a big one.
oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
It's over 2,000 pages.
Right.
A little intimidating, honestly.
Yeah, it can be.
Where do you even begin with something like that?
Well, the book claims to be authored by celestial beings
Okay.
communicating their knowledge to humanity.
Uh-huh.
So right away, you're in for something
Different.
a little different. Yeah.
All right, celestial beings.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued, but color me skeptical too.
I don't blame you.
What are these celestial beings trying to tell us in this book?
Well, that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
They basically lay out a completely mind-blowing cosmology,
Okay.
a history of our planet,
Okay.
and a very detailed account of Jesus's life and teachings.
Cosmology, you mean like
Yeah.
the origins of the universe, what's out there beyond Earth?
Exactly. Exactly.
Not the typical Big Bang theory of it.
No. This is
This is a whole other.
the Urantia book describes a universe with a very particular structure.
Okay.
And it all starts with the Isle of Paradise,
The Isle of Paradise.
which is the dwelling place of the Trinity,
Okay.
the Father, Son, and Spirit.
So the very heart of all creation.
Imagine it as that. Yeah, the very center of everything.
Okay, so we've got this Isle of Paradise at the center of everything. What's around it?
Okay, so surrounding that is Havona, the central universe.
Okay.
And it's filled with 1 billion perfect worlds.
A billion.
1 billion.
Perfect world.
Yeah, all orbiting the Isle of Paradise.
Talk about setting the bar high for us here on Earth.
Yeah, right.
A billion perfect worlds.
Then, beyond Havona,
Okay.
you have 7 super universes.
7 super universes.
These are massive realms, each with its own unique character and purpose.
Okay.
They're constantly evolving, with new worlds and beings being created all the time.
So it's like this cosmic Russian doll situation, layer upon layer.
Kinda, yeah.
Where does Earth fit into all of this?
Okay, so Earth, or Urantia,
Mm.
as the book calls it,
Urantia, right?
we're part of a local universe called Nebodon,
Okay.
tucked away in the 7th super universe.
So like the cosmic suburbs?
Yeah, if you want to put it that way.
Okay, that's a lot to take in.
It is a lot.
This incredible cosmology. And then you said it also talks about Jesus?
Yeah, and this is where it gets even more
Okay.
interesting.
All right.
It claims to present a complete and accurate account of Jesus's life,
Okay.
filling in gaps and offering a deeper understanding of his teachings.
A deeper understanding than what we get from, say, the Bible.
That's what it claims, yeah.
That's a bold claim.
It is bold, but remember,
Okay.
this book is all about offering a different perspective on things.
Okay.
It presents Jesus's life in the context of this grand cosmology, right?
Right.
And its unique theology, so.
Okay, so let's talk about the theology then.
Yeah.
What does the Urantia book have to say about God?
Well, it describes a triune God, Father, Son, and Spirit,
Mm.
but it also introduces this concept of creator sons
Creator sons.
and spirit mothers
Yeah.
who are responsible for individual local universes,
Okay.
like our own, Nebodon.
So like divine parents of their own little cosmic families.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay.
It also presents this concept of thought adjusters.
Thought adjusters, what are those?
Okay, so imagine like a tiny fragment of God's consciousness
Oh,
residing
wow.
within each of us.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thought adjuster.
Okay.
And their purpose is to guide us towards spiritual growth, helping us connect with the divine.
So there's a piece of God
Kind of, yeah.
living inside my mind right now.
That's the idea.
That's a lot to process.
It is. It is.
I gotta say, this is just
And this is just scratching the surface.
scratching the surface. Okay.
There's so much more to unpack. We've got the book's take on human history,
Right.
its scientific claims,
Yep.
and even accusations of plagiarism.
Plagiarism, and now I really need to hear more about this.
Yeah, that's where it gets
Okay.
a little controversial.
All right, bring on the controversy.
Let's do it.
Let's get into it. So plagiarism, you said the Urantia book has been accused of plagiarizing from other sources.
Yeah, it's one of the big controversies.
What's the story there?
Critics have pointed to passages that seem to be, like, lifted, sometimes word for word, from a scientific and academic texts.
Really?
There's even been some pretty extensive research done by a scholar named Matthew Block
Okay.
who's identified a whole bunch of these potential sources.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if parts of the book were just copied, does that kind of undermine the whole celestial being authorship?
That's the debate.
Right.
Some people see it as like a smoking gun,
Right.
proof that the whole thing is a hoax.
Right.
But then others argue that the book itself acknowledges,
Okay.
drawing on human concepts to express these cosmic truths.
Okay.
They say it's like translating a really complex language.
Okay.
You need to use words and ideas that people already understand.
So using some human sources, but the core message is still from the higher beings.
Exactly. It's a bit of a tightrope walk.
Yeah.
Ultimately up to the reader to decide what they believe.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Let's move on to something a little less controversial.
Sure.
You mentioned that the Urantia book also delves into human history.
It does. It offers a very detailed account.
Okay.
Starting from the very beginning.
Okay.
With the story of Adam and Eve.
Okay, Adam and Eve. So this is...
Yeah, but it presents their story in kind of a new light. It calls them uplifters who were sent to Earth to help humanity evolve.
Uplifters. So not the original sinners, like in the traditional.
Not exactly. No, more like these advanced beings who made a mistake,
Okay.
which kind of set humanity back on its evolutionary path.
Interesting.
It also talks about the arrival of being called Caligastia,
Caligastia.
kind of a planetary prince who was supposed to guide us, but ended up rebelling.
Wow, so there's this whole cosmic drama
But
playing out
Third time.
in the background of human history.
Exactly. And this all ties into the book's overall message of spiritual evolution.
Okay, spiritual evolution.
Yeah.
How does the Urantia book define that?
It describes this journey
Okay.
through multiple dimensions and levels of existence.
Okay.
The goal is to progressively move closer to God,
Okay.
shedding our limitations,
Mm-hmm.
achieving this state of oneness with the Father.
Okay, and so those thought adjusters.
Right. They play a key role in this.
They're like our personal spiritual coaches.
That's a good way to put it.
Guiding us along.
But the book also emphasizes that we have free will, right? We can choose to follow their guidance or ignore it.
Okay.
It's a partnership, a collaboration
Pasha.
between the human and the divine.
So it's not about blind obedience, but making conscious choices to lead us towards that spiritual growth.
Exactly. And speaking of choices, the book also talks about sin.
Okay, sin, how do they define that?
Well, it's a little different from the traditional religious views.
Okay.
It's not about breaking like a set of rules.
Okay.
It's more about consciously opposing the will of God.
Okay.
It's about choosing actions that harm ourselves or others and that go against the principles of love and compassion.
So it's more about intention,
Yeah.
the impact they have, rather than like a checklist of sins.
It's about understanding the consequences of our choices and striving to align ourselves with the will of God, which, according to the book, is all about love and goodness.
Okay, all right. I'm starting to get a sense of the overall message here.
Yeah.
But there's one more thing I want to dive into.
Sure.
It's that account of Jesus.
Okay.
You said it claims to be the most complete and accurate
Yeah,
version of his life story.
it does. And it frames his life within the context of its cosmology and theology,
Okay.
offering a very unique interpretation.
Okay, I'm ready for that.
Yeah.
What makes the Urantia Book's version of the Jesus story different?
Well, for one thing, it really emphasizes the humanity of Jesus.
Okay.
It doesn't shy away from showing, his struggles, his doubts,
Okay.
his very human emotions.
More grounded then.
Yeah, portrays him as a real person who experienced the joys and sorrows of life just like we do.
Okay.
It really delves into his childhood,
Mm.
his relationships, his travels, details that you won't find in the Bible.
Okay.
It gives you this incredible sense of who he was as a man
Okay.
before he became the figure we know as Jesus Christ.
Fascinating. And what about his teachings?
Oh, it places a huge emphasis on those.
Okay.
Portrays them as a practical guide for living a spiritual and ethical life. Principles like love, compassion, forgiveness, service.
Mm-hmm.
The book really dives deep into these themes and shows how they're relevant to our everyday lives.
So it's not just about believing in Jesus, but living by his example.
Exactly. It's about taking those teachings,
Okay.
applying them to the way we treat others, the choices we make,
Okay.
the way we navigate the challenges of life.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. What about the miracles?
It does talk about those,
Okay.
but it presents them as these natural expressions of Jesus's divine nature,
Yeah.
never performed for personal gain or to show off his power.
Okay.
They were always acts of love and compassion intended to help and heal.
So it's not about the spectacle of the miracles, but the message behind them.
Right, and it's the same with the crucifixion and resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
The Urantia Book presents these events within its own theological framework,
Okay.
emphasizing the ultimate sacrifice of love and the triumph over death.
So it's maintaining those core Christian beliefs,
Yeah.
but framing them in this new way, aligning them with its own unique perspective.
And it's this unique perspective that has really drawn people to the book.
Okay.
It challenges traditional interpretations.
Right.
It prompts us to re-examine our own beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
deepen our understanding of these familiar stories.
Sounds like a fascinating, albeit challenging read.
It can be.
I mean, how do people even approach this massive book?
Well, yeah, it's not exactly light reading.
Especially for somebody who's new to it.
There are different ways to approach it, though.
Okay.
Some people start with the fourth part, which focuses on the life and teachings of Jesus.
Okay.
It's considered the most accessible section and a good entry point into the book's overall message.
So start with the familiar and then
Yeah.
branch out.
Exactly. And there are study groups,
Hmm.
online resources available to help navigate the material.
Okay.
The key is to approach it with an open mind and a willingness to challenge your assumptions.
I'm starting to see the appeal of this.
Yeah,
It's a dense read, full of complex ideas,
it is.
controversial claims,
Mm-hmm.
but it also offers this very unique perspective
For sure.
on spirituality, cosmology, human history.
It's definitely a book that stays with you, even if you don't agree with everything it says.
Okay.
And that's what's so fascinating about it.
Right.
It prompts you to think critically,
Yeah.
to question your beliefs,
Mhm.
explore new possibilities.
It's interesting you mentioned those scientific claims. We touched on that earlier, but
Right.
I'm still a little confused about how a book claiming celestial authorship can have scientific inaccuracies.
The common question
Yeah.
a lot of people have.
Yeah.
One example critics often bring up is the ultimaton,
Yeah, the
like on the
omega.
tiny theoretical particle
Right.
that the book describes as like the fundamental building block of all matter.
It's like their version of the atom, but even smaller.
Right. But the problem is,
Okay.
modern science hasn't found any evidence to support the existence of the ultimaton.
Oh.
Our current understanding of particle physics just doesn't fit with that idea.
So does that mean the book is wrong about science?
Well, not necessarily.
Sure.
The Urantia book actually addresses this directly,
Okay.
saying that revealing like advanced scientific knowledge to humanity,
Mm-hmm.
it's limited by what we as humans can actually grasp.
Okay.
And it even acknowledges that scientific understanding evolves over time.
So they're saying we're giving you the simplified version
Kind of, yeah.
because you wouldn't understand the full truth.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's like trying to explain quantum physics to someone who's never even taken a basic science class.
Right.
You got to start with the basics, even if it means leaving out some of the complexities.
But even with those limitations,
Right.
the book's cosmology is still
Oh, yeah.
really detailed, really
It's
complex.
incredibly detailed.
Do you think there's any value in its scientific claims,
I think so.
even if they're not completely accurate?
I think there's value in the way it encourages us to think about the universe
Mhm.
and our place in it. It pushes us to expand our imagination,
Mhm.
consider possibilities beyond our current understanding.
Okay.
So even if the specifics aren't scientifically validated,
Right.
that underlying message of a vast interconnected universe
Mm-hmm.
is something that I think resonates with a lot of people.
It's that sense of wonder and awe.
Yeah.
Like we're part of something much bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the book's overall message
Okay.
of spiritual evolution.
Okay.
This idea that we're all on a journey towards greater understanding
Mhm.
and connection with the divine.
And that journey is personal, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There's
Yeah.
no one size fits all.
No, the Urantia book really emphasizes
Okay.
the importance of personal experience and individual growth.
Okay.
It's about finding your own path, making your own choices, learning from your mistakes.
So even though it presents this grand cosmology,
Right.
this very specific theological framework,
Yeah.
it ultimately encourages
Yeah.
individual interpretation,
Mm. Yeah.
exploration.
Absolutely. It's not about blind faith or rigid dogma.
Yeah.
It's about engaging with the material, asking questions,
Right.
forming your own understanding of these complex ideas.
It sounds like it's more of a catalyst for spiritual growth
Yeah.
rather than a set of strict instructions.
That's a great way to put it.
Right.
It's a tool for self-discovery,
Mm-hmm.
a guidepost on the journey of spiritual evolution.
Mm-hmm.
And while it might not be for everyone,
Right.
it's definitely had a profound impact on those who have embraced its teachings.
It's a book that sparks debate,
For sure.
inspires reflection, challenges conventional thinking.
All of things.
In a world that often feels increasingly divided and uncertain,
Yeah.
I feel like that kind of intellectual and spiritual exploration
Yeah.
is more valuable than ever.
I agree.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the Urantia book,
Okay.
what's the one thing you want our listeners to take away?
I would say this. The Urantia book is a complex and challenging work.
But it's also incredibly thought-provoking.
Okay.
It offers a unique perspective on the universe, our place in it, and the meaning of life itself.
It demands an open mind, a willingness to question, and a thirst for knowledge.
Exactly. And even if you don't agree with everything it says,
Right.
engaging with its ideas can be a really rewarding journey of self-discovery
Okay.
and spiritual growth.
Well said. To our listeners, we encourage you to explore the Urantia book for yourselves.
Yeah.
See what resonates with you. Who knows, it might just spark your own cosmic journey.
There you go.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the Urantia book.
Of course.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Yeah.
Keep asking questions.